at the Muscogee County Jail with Sheriff John Darr. Hi, John. How are you?
Good morning, Gloria. I appreciate you coming down this morning.
I know that you have some great programs going on here at the jail. We're not excited when we have our citizens here, but we are pleased to know that you have some things going on the inside that kind of help prepare them for when they leave, when they transition out. So today we're here, and I want you to give us a tour of the GED dorm, the fatherhood dorm, and the veterans dorm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, that's kind of really what we kind of strive and kind of stress now, is trying to develop and implement as many programs as we can that we think will be beneficial to the inmate population, and especially for this area with the number of veterans. Of course, with Fort Benning here, we thought it was very important that we'd have something such as the veterans dorm, and this is the floor we're on that houses those three places you just talked about: the veterans dorm, the GED dorm, and the fatherhood dorm.
I think that's really awesome. Of course, we know we have, Fort Benning, and a lot of our veterans come back from war, and they suffer from PTSD, and which leads to other substance abuse issues, and sometimes they just have a misstep, and they might end up spending some time with you. But I'm pleased to know that when they are here with you, you have some things here in place to support them.
That's right. We feel it's important to do our part to implement some kind of programs that we think will be beneficial, and hopefully, and it's been successful, we think overall for them not coming back. Everybody talks about the recidivism rate, and I think we've been pretty successful in all these three programs, we think.
Okay. Really successful. And so you have the chaplain who's on site that's helping to manage a lot of those.
Sure does. Our chaplain, Neil Richardson, does a fantastic job for us. He's real active not only in implementing about all the programs we have, but he's also, of course, a lot of people know that he's real involved outside the sheriff's office doing a lot of things in the community. So we're real fortunate that we have somebody that has the passion.
Right.
And sometimes I would even say the vision to do some of the things we're doing. So we're very fortunate.
And that's why we have success.
That's right. So far we have.
All right. So we're on this tour, and we're going to take a break right now, and the sheriff is going to take us inside. We're at the Muscogee County Jail. Straightforward is brought to you by ERA Elite Ventures Realty and Management Company. Always there for you. Call Kia and Travis Chambers.
We do it for the barn.
Hi, I'm Pastor Quinn, Senior Pastor of New Destiny Church.
And I'm Lady Denitra Hartnett, and we would like to invite you out to worship with us at New Destiny Church, where we do it for the vine.
Straightforward is brought to you by Freedom Printing for all of your designer printing needs. Gunboat Plaza, Suite 18. We are inside the Veterans Dorm at the Muscogee County Jail. And Sheriff John Darr, I'm so excited that you would take us on this tour. Once we entered, the word pride just jumped out at me. Then looking around the room, we had the emblems from all branches of service. Right. And this is pretty much an exclusive dorm.
It is. To be in this dorm that we have, what we call the Veterans Dorm here at the Muscogee County Jail, you had to have served sometime in one of the branches of the military. We can only house up to 16. I think we have 16 today, believe it or not. Sometimes we have less, but that's the max we can do. But it really is what you just said. It's, we kind of want to keep that number to a small number. We think it works best for some of the programs and the classes that people that come in and teach from the community, and also some of the classes that we do within the Muscogee County Sheriff's Office here inside this dorm. So it just kind of works out best that we keep it to a smaller number.
And because we are here at Fort Benning, we have a lot of retirees and we have a lot of active duty. And for those of us, in my other life, I was a social worker. We have a lot of our veterans that come back with post-traumatic stress. Yes, ma'am. And sometimes they might have a misstep and they might end up here. So when they end up here, if this dorm is not full, if you don't have the 16 at the Muscogee County Jail, then they have the privilege of coming to the Veterans Dorm.
Yes, ma'am. Of course, there's other things that can factor into that. Of course, like I said, one of the biggest things you have, obvious, that you had to serve in one of the branches of the military. And then, of course, like always, in any kind of county jail, it's classifications. You know, we got to make sure that the similar charges of people with similar charges are housed together. But yes, if you've served in one branch and your charge isn't so severe that we cannot put you in here, you will have an opportunity to come to this dorm.
All right, and so we have motivational words all over this dormitory. We have pride, we have honor, we have respect and loyalty. And so having those motivational words present, the intent is to try to rekindle all of those things that they stood for when they were serving our country so faithfully.
And that's really what it was. You know, when we came, when we were trying to develop this concept of this dorm, we kicked around a lot of different ideas. And one of the things was we wanted to put the branches, the emblems, the symbols, or whatever you want to call them, on the up here along the wall. So when they come and see it, of course you see the American flag, and then of course the words that you see.
Right.
And the whole concept was for them to come in, people of like backgrounds,
Right.
With the same focus of,
And they can all tell their war stories,
That's
right? Or their PT stories when they were 20 years old and they ran those 5 miles every morning for PT.
But that was the whole point, just to kind of, for them to try to rekindle whatever they want to call that, to that pride that they had.
Right, and that's part of the restoration and the motivation for them to try to get back to that place.
That's what we hope, and that's what we see. This is probably, if you look at this entire county jail, we have, unfortunately, we have a lot of people. Probably the count today is over 1,200.
1,200.
And this right here has been one of the, probably the most successful program we have. We've had probably about 189 veterans that have come through this dorm since we opened this dorm.
Really?
Only 44 have came back, and I want to make sure I get this right. And that's only a 23% recidivism rate. And when people look at that, they would. I can tell you this: at a 23% recidivism rate, that's phenomenal compared to the national average of over 65%.
Well, I can say that too because I taught through a federal education grant at the Calhoun State Prison, and so I am familiar with the system. And to say 20%, of course, we would like to get a 0%,
no doubt.
but a lot of times our veterans have issues that need to be addressed. A lot of them have mental health issues, or they might have regular medical issues. Yes, and if it goes untreated, then a lot of times that might be where they have that misstep.
Well, Gloria, you said it right. A lot of people, of course, everybody knows when people have served in the military, they're dealing with the issues of post-traumatic stress disorders and alcohol and drug issues sometimes.
Exactly.
And that's what a lot of the stuff we do focuses around, dealing with those issues. But really, I tell people at the end of the day, most of the we get a lot more credit than we probably should get.
Right.
But really, the credit should go to the men that come up into this dorm, that take advantage of wanting to be part of this dorm and part of the process of going through.
And the benefit of having this.
Really, you owe it to them more than anybody. Because I always tell people, you can offer all the kind of programs you want, but if they don't want to participate, we can't force them to.
Exactly.
And they choose to. So we're lucky that they chose to do this.
Well, when we came in, there was a very distinguished gentleman here, a veteran in the dorm, and he said that there was a Marine that observed that their emblem was a little smaller than the other emblems on the wall. So I found that very interesting, and that goes to your theory that they would take pride. And so to notice that when we came in, I didn't notice that. So when the gentleman shared that, that was really interesting.
I've never noticed it before. And I can assure all the Marines that it was not done on purpose and on intention. So
right. So that was done by somebody from the outside, and you had to order that in and that kind of thing.
We ordered the signal, and that's how it came to us.
Well, my husband is Army strong for all the Army here. And, of course, we appreciate all of the veterans that you have here today, and we thank them so much for their service.
That's it.
This is awesome. So we're going to take a break right now, and our next location will be either the GED dorm or the fatherhood dorm. The GED dorm at the Muscogee County Jail with Sheriff John Darr. Sheriff, there's a lot of learning going on in this dormitory.
It really is. This is, like I said, when we talk to a lot of people in the community, this is one of the more successful programs we've had down here. We're very fortunate, and I think that the audience should know not only do we offer GED testing and programs for the men, we also do it for the women. We've been very fortunate. I got the numbers here, so I didn't tell them wrong. We've had over 140 inmates that have taken the test, and 75 have passed the test and become high school graduates. The recidivism rate is only 35% in this dorm compared to, like I said, over the 65% national average. We're real fortunate so far with this program.
I am just so excited because I actually had the pleasure of meeting a gentleman here who only has like 2 points to get before he passes, which means that's going to make a difference when he transitions from here back into the community.
Yeah. You know, most people don't realize this probably, but yeah, all the inmates we have down here at this county jail, over 40% probably they don't have a high school education or a high school diploma. And without that diploma, just think about how hard it is for these men and women to go out here in this community and find employment or better themselves. So we take this program, and like I said, Chaplain Neil Richards does a tremendous job. The instructors that he has, the men and women that come down here and work with these men and women, we're very fortunate to have people in the community that's coming down here to do that, and their hearts in it, and for the right reason. And we're trying to do our part, like I said, you know, to make these men and women successful during this testing so they can go out here in this community.
Exactly, and I think having the GED makes a difference when you're out competing in the job market. And for those of us that's familiar with the GED, it has changed over the years. Yes. It actually has calculus, trigonometry, algebra. I mean, it is some serious, and I believe there are some college graduates I know that might not pass that test.
We joke about that. You're right about that. This is, you hit it on the head. It is a very, very hard test. They work really, really hard to get to the point where they can pass it. So you gotta commend somebody that's trying to better themselves. So we're fortunate.
Well, the gentleman that's here said that he was committed and he was going to get it done. And I asked that we have workbooks, and I can look around the room and see people at the table with their workbooks, and they're really just staying on the grind. And I think that's very important. And I also think that helps their families when they transition out.
Oh, it does. I mean, as you can see, you know, you have the testing book, we have the workbooks that they work on, and they work on it every day. I mean, they're really dedicated to trying to make sure that they do everything they can while they're here to pass this test. So.
And this dorm is a smaller dorm, just like the veterans dorm. Yes. And so, again, they have to meet a certain criteria to be in this dorm as well.
They do. And really your bottom line, you're still looking for the men that are really, truly dedicated to trying to pass this test.
And committed.
And better themselves. So if you're not, like I tell everybody, we have these programs. If we can't force anybody to be part of these programs, they choose to do that, and I commend them for doing that.
Well, I am so excited, and I'm definitely delighted to see that we have students here working at the table as we are standing here talking. So this is just one more of the great things that you're doing to try to make a difference for the citizens that you have here temporarily.
Yes, ma'am, that's it. We're trying to do our part for the, and you know, and in regards to how people look at this, you think about the people that are in the county jail are your brothers, your sisters.
Exactly.
Your
They're family.
That's right. And we owe it to do our part as the sheriff's office to do them better.
Exactly. And all of us, you know, there's a long road in life. A lot of us will have a misstep. And so we just want to make sure that we're doing our part to make a difference when they make the transition.
That's right.
Well, I thank you so much. I'm very excited, but we're going to take a break right now and go to one of our sponsors, and then we will come back and we will be at the Fatherhood Dorm. Thank you so much. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. The Whitewater Classic Committee is proud to announce the first annual Whitewater Classic football game, Saturday, September 13th, 2014, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Garrett Harrison Stadium in Phoenix City. Tuskegee University Golden Tigers versus Albany State University Golden Rams. Be there Saturday, September 13th, 2014.
Don't speed up your delivery date. Babies aren't fully developed until at least 39 weeks. A healthy baby is worth the wait.
Straightforward is brought to you by Winship Clinic, Dr. Elizabeth Beth Martin, located at the Brookstone Center. welcome back to Straightforward. We are still here at the Muscogee County Jail, but we're in the GED class. And I am so excited that these two young men decided to chat with me about their hard work on the GED. So you have taken the GED, yes, and I
passed everything except math.
Except for the math. And we were just talking about that earlier with the sheriff. The math is very difficult now, yes, since they've revamped the test. So where was your struggle? Was it the geometry or was it the trig? It was trig. And so what are you doing daily? I see you have your workbooks.
Every day, the teacher comes in, except on the weekend. Mr. Pritchett, which is a good teacher, and he works with us very hard, every day. All of us, we get together. Even when he's not here, we sit down and we talk with each other and try to get it the best that we can. Okay, and so you have your workbooks there, and yes, ma'am. And so you are working hard on your math. Yeah, well, I do know some people with master's degrees and PhDs, and I know when this test got revamped that this is not a joke. This is very difficult, but I'm confident that if you continue to work on this every day, that you will master it. I believe that. Okay, and so you are starting out now, and you've been working on language arts. Yes, okay, and so what is it that you're learning that you didn't know?
How to do an essay, really.
Oh, how to write?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and we write different than the way we speak.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think sometimes that's where we fall short when we take a test. Yes, we try to take the test and use the language that we normally speak in, and a lot of times we're speaking in a dialect or a certain, way our family speaks. Especially in the South, we're good for kind of creating our own words like y'all and all of that. But when you're taking the standardized test, y'all, it won't work.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're learning those things. Okay, so what do you plan on doing when you leave here? Are you going to be able to take this, pass the GED? Are you going to go on to community college or get a job?
Get a trade.
You're going to get a trade. So what will you be going to trade school for?
Electrical.
Oh, okay. So that's something that you can do already? That's kind of your gift? You kind of tinker?
My dad is a certified electrician, and I want to follow in his footsteps. And getting the GED is the first part of trying to get there.
Exactly. And electricians charge a lot of money. Yes, your dad makes a lot of money. So when people like me call them because the ceiling fan wires have not worked, then that's pretty much a service call, and then for the service, yes, once they provide it. So that's an excellent career. And then, of course, you have your dad as a role model. I think that's a very good plan. So what's your plan when you get the GED, when you leave?
Actually, the same thing, electrician, but also to get a better job for the time being, and to be able to help my children with, school.
Okay, and so how many children do you have?
I actually have 4.
Oh, okay, you have 4 kids, boys or girls?
2 boys and 2 girls.
Okay, so you will need to work and go on and get that electrician's credentials, because for the 2 girls, you'll have to be buying prom dresses and wedding dresses, and so you're going to really have to get a plan, a long-term plan, a long-term plan. So do you have any children?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, I thank you gentlemen so much for chatting with me today, and please make sure that the chaplain keeps me informed when you reach that goal.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'd love to have you come on Straightforward once you've gotten that GED and you've gone to the next step.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'd like to see you when you come back to the community.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors.
Walmart's reason for supporting Thurgood Marshall College Fund is simple. We like to win. And we have been given a lot of exposure to some incredible talent. And we also believe that it's a part of our responsibility to the community to give back. This is a great opportunity to do both. It's been a wonderful experience for us through the years. We've appreciated our partnership. We believe in return on investment, and we have definitely had a remarkable return.
And welcome back to Straightforward. We are still at the Muscogee County Jail, and right now we're going to chat with our chaplain, who is on the case, working all the various programs, trying to make sure that our citizens that are here at this time, when they leave, will have some great tools so they can make a great transition. Chaplain, you are working so very hard.
Well, thank you.
And you have a lot of great programs in place.
Yes, ma'am.
So we've seen the fatherhood dorm, and what you're trying to do there is make sure that they are fully engaged with their children as much as they possibly can.
Exactly.
And then we have visited the veterans dorm as well as the GED dorm. And so you're the person that's holding all of that together.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so share with our audience what you do to make all of these programs work.
When I first got brought into the jail by Sheriff Darr, he said, we're not going to just warehouse people. What we're going to do here is try to take advantage of the time that we have in order to make it possible for people not to come back.
Okay.
And so that was our task. So we started doing drug and alcohol programming because that's the #1 reason that people are here.
Right, substance abuse.
That's exactly right. 80% of the people who are incarcerated in this country is because of drugs and alcohol.
Yes, sir.
And so we began to start there, and then we started realizing, how do you get a job when you get out of jail if you don't have a high school diploma?
Yes.
How do you deal with PTSD issues from multiple deployments as a veteran?
Yes.
How do you deal with the drug and alcohol self-medication problem and then expose that? And so we started, and then how do we do this on the budget that the city allows us to work with?
Oh, I know. I've seen you before council begging for money, trying to make sure that you can keep some of the programs. I know the GED program going, and
That's
so
right.
and you're fully committed because this is not something that you can do for money. You have to have a passion. It's a calling.
And similar to the one that you've had through your career.
Yes.
So I can relate with that completely. So if we can find a way to get a man and a woman a high school education if they don't have one here, if we can take anybody that's willing to try to change their life and equip them to be successful, instead of wishes and hopes, actually equip them. So the veterans dorm, then we began to start looking at the community, what resources exist out there that we could get involved with. You've got Roy Plummer from Faith Tabernacle, who's a retired bird colonel from the Army as a chaplain, who still has a heart for soldiers. And so he owns a place called the Plummer Home, which is for homeless vets.
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, his manager was in that veterans dorm when we first opened that dorm, got housed there, and then got hired.
Oh, okay.
And
so he went from being a person that lived there to being staff.
Yes.
That's a great success story.
And so he knows what that dorm is all about. And so we've got a nice little linkage right there. So if a guy doesn't have a place to live when he gets out, we can put that package together while incarcerated.
Okay.
We have such wonderful veterans groups in the Columbus area. As a matter of fact, the Veterans Center, they have the presidents of all the different veterans groups created a Veterans Council, and they meet once a month.
And so they have a collaboration.
That's right.
And that's a safety net.
And so they've got vet-to-vet mentoring available.
Yes.
They help find mentors and accountability partners for vets that are incarcerated to help them make that transition when they get out. In the GED dorm, if they don't finish while incarcerated, remember, we're a jail, not a prison.
Exactly.
So
some it's a short stay.
That's right. Some of those guys might be a test away or from graduating.
Right.
We got free tutoring. It's available on the outside. So the transition, once again, we started learning it. That door over there, that's critical that we have support on the outside.
And that safety net,
That's
so
right.
they can continue what you've started here.
That's right.
Exactly.
Now, the fatherhood dorm was really interesting because we bumped into a couple of things. First of all, we found out that men that are incarcerated that reconnect with their families while incarcerated have a 50% less chance of coming back.
Okay.
That was an incentive to jump in. As a matter of fact, Commander Collins, who's the warden here, was at a national large jail meeting, and he heard that, called us on the phone and said, let's put something together.
Okay.
So by the time he came back from the conference, we had roughed it out.
Okay.
We sent an email out throughout men in this community, judges, politicians, business people, civic leaders, and said, how would you like to help? And there are 40 classes, and we teach a combination of those over 4 weeks, and men from the community come in and actually teach those classes. So what the men begin to learn is, you know, I have value.
Right.
Important people are coming here to spend time with me.
Exactly.
And then the other thing they learn is it's not your circumstances that make you a good father. It's your heart and your commitment to be a role model
for
and
your
a
children,
good role model.
for your children and family.
That's right.
And being a great leader.
And then we found something crazy. I'd never heard this before. 62% of children that are not read to at home by age 4 will be incarcerated. That's scary.
Yes.
Talk about generational cycles of incarceration. The library here in Columbus has a program called Simple Steps that teaches parents how to teach children to read, even men that can't read.
Well, even if you don't have a book, you can always read the Bible. That's my personal choice.
Go, girl.
Exactly. You can always start with that one. Exactly.
Well, the library had at one of their staff meetings a report from the children's department, and it went something like this, that said that we noticed a man who had been in the fatherhood dorm. You see, the library sends women here every Thursday afternoon, and they go in that dorm and teach the men how to teach children to read.
Oh, awesome.
And so all of a sudden they're noticing this guy and a 3-year-old girl walking into the building, and they recognized him.
Right.
He was in the very first ever class we had here.
Okay, so he continued what he was taught here when he got home to his family.
And they fawned over him and treated her
Great
like the
success
little
story.
princess.
Yes.
And they got him books and a neat couch to sit on, and he leaned over and he goes, I can't read. And they said, we brought you the wrong books. And they came back with nothing but picture books.
Right.
No words. And for 3 hours, that man and his 3-year-old daughter read together.
And the daughter never knew he couldn't read. But
She
it was
left.
quality time and left a great impression.
And you know the 2 things that we know for sure?
Yes.
She's not coming here and he's not coming back.
Absolutely. So
And
that's
so-
worth all of the commitment and effort that you have put into this. Well, I commend you on what you're doing, and just want to make sure if we have other community partners out there that have something they can contribute to help you on this mission, because clearly this is a mission for you. And I can see the passion in your eyes from one old social worker to a middle-aged social worker. But it has to be a passion. It can't be a job. And I thank you so much for all you're doing for the men and the women here, and particularly for their families, because that's how we make a difference, helping someone else along this journey.
And we want to thank you for the show that you put on every week and how it addresses this community and tries to find ways to make it better.
Well, thank you so much. It has truly been my pleasure.
I'm honored.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
This has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.